Hey everyone, Dennis K here with Belize Islands Real Estate. Hope you all are doing well today. Hey, listen, this is that episode where I go ahead and address viewers' questions that they have in general around specific properties. So I'm going to answer this particular client's 5 questions and then talk about a deal that we had available up north for $15,000. Unfortunately, or fortunately, not unfortunately, fortunately, that lot has sold, but we do have another one in the area for $17,000. And I'm going to be talking about that here at the end of this video. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned. First of all, let's get to some of these questions. So first of all, this particular client is looking at buying a property in the Secret Beach area for $50,000 cash. So they're not financing it. They're going to make a full price offer of $50,000 cash, and they have these questions. So number one, what are the additional costs, like closing costs, stamp tax, post and reporting fees, commissions, etc.? How does it all break down? All right, so for you as the buyer, you have 2 costs that you need to be concerned with. Number one is the closing costs themselves. Those typically tend to be about 2% of the purchase price, and the closing costs go to do things such as your title work, your title transfer paperwork, submitting everything to the lands department, having the escrow company get all the due diligence from you and the seller, make sure everything's legit. So that protects your interest in the property. And to do that, we recommend that you go with a closing company such as Belize Key Investments. They're the ones we primarily use on Ambergris Key, but you can use any closing company you wish or any attorney. But closing costs are typically 2%, and then your stamp tax is 8% of the purchase price minus $10,000. So for example, on a $50,000 purchase, you would take $10,000 off that amount. So you come up with a purchase, well, a estimated stamp tax value that you pay on of $40,000. So 50,000 minus 10 is 40, and then $40,000 times the 8% stamp tax, you're looking at paying $3,200 to the Belize government in stamp tax. So between your closing costs and stamp tax, I tell people to just figure 10% of the purchase price as your all-in price. So if the lots cost $50,000, plan on spending 55 out the door. If it's 100,000, plan on spending 110 out the door. All right, the commissions, those are always paid for by the seller in Belize, so you don't have to worry about any other cost. Seller pays commissions and all that kind of other stuff. All right, good. Let's talk about number two. When are taxes due or any other upcoming fees after closing? All right, so after closing, if you put the property in just your personal name and you don't hold the title in a Belize LLC or an IBC or anything like that, then all you have are your annual property taxes. Now, in these particular lots, property taxes are $75,000 a year. Those come due in the spring each year, and you can very easily pay those online at the San Pedro Town Council link. I can forward that link to anybody who owns property in the island and wants to pay their property taxes via that means, or you can just simply go into the San Pedro Town Council next time you're on island and pay your taxes that way. But again, it's very easy. Now, if you own the property in a company of some sort, for example, a Belize IBC or Belize LLC, then each year you will have a renewal fee, and that renewal fee differs depending on what type of company you hold. So it can be $450 a year, all the way up to, if you own it in a offshore IBC like an Anguillan or U.S. Virgin Islands, it can be up to $800, $850 a year, because on those you have to register them in the country of their origin, Anguilla, U.S., Panama, and in Belize. Whereas if you just hold the title in a Belize company, you just have the one registry renewal. So it makes it much, much cheaper and much simpler. So number three, do either properties you mentioned below have any restrictions or alternative possible uses besides single-family housing? For example, multi-unit, commercial, industrial. Yeah, so in most 90%, 95% of subdivisions on Ambergris Key and the mainland, it is considered open zoning. So you can build a single-family home, duplexes, triplexes, multi-units. You can do commercial, you can do industrial, combination of the both. So there are no restrictions. All you have are some basic building requirements. For example, you have setbacks, You need to be 5 feet from the side property lines, 10 feet from the front and back. And then on some properties, depending on the size, you have a height limit. So it used to be that height limit was 3 stories. Now, depending on the size of your parcel, you can go up to 4, maybe even 5, but you have to have a little bit bigger parcel for that. But I would say limit yourself to 3 stories in your mind, 3 stories, mind the setbacks, and you can build pretty much anything you want. Number 4, is there any time limit for how long you have to hold property before flipping it? No, there's no time limit at all. What you will need to do, though, is to have free and clear title in your name in order to sell it. So, for example, you buy a property now, you submit all the paperwork to Lands Department. That can take 9 months to a year to get the title back in your name. After you have title, you can sell it whenever you want. If you're financing a property and you don't have title yet because you're financing it, you can still sell it. You would just need to sell it for cash so that your new buyer, the ultimate new buyer, has enough money to pay off the original owner and give you the proceeds after commissions. So yeah, but there is no time limit. You can buy and sell just as quick as you can get title. Number 5, legally, is there any Belizean rule if I hold it over for a certain period of time that benefits or restricts the opportunity at either property? No, absolutely not. You can buy and sell. There are no capital gains taxes in Belize. So it doesn't matter if you sell it after 9 months or a year or 5 years or 10 years. There are no capital gains taxes. So there really is no benefit. However, I would recommend you holding it for a bit longer than trying to make a quick buck on a short-term flip, because especially if you buy a property in the path of progress, you're going to benefit from additional development in and around your area that is just going to boost the prices a little bit. So I definitely recommend at least a 2 to 3 year hold on almost everything I sell, sometimes more, sometimes much longer. For example, your last question there regarding the $15,000 lot way up north, is it still available? If so, any restrictions legally on purchasing the lot, other than no road access right now? You mentioned the possibility of purchasing on a credit card. Is it really possible? So first of all, let me show you what I do have available. So I did have these 2 lots, 30C and 31C available, because the $15,000 lot had sold. These 2 lots were going for $17,000 each. We already had an offer which was accepted on 30C. So the only one we have left is 31C. And the reason I like this lot is because it looks over this large open park, a green space right out to the Caribbean Sea. And so even though this is an off-beach lot, it essentially acts like a beachfront lot because there's nothing between you and the water. So here is another picture of that property. So that sits right here where my cursor is, overlooking the park green space right out to the Caribbean Sea. And there's another picture of it here. All right, so this is the lot. You can see it's nice, high and dry, right out over the park, out to the Caribbean Sea. And yes, if you want, you can put this on a credit card or debit card. There is a slight fee that the closing company would charge you for that because they get hit like with a 1 or 2% fee on that, but you absolutely can pay with a credit card. All right, now one more question you had, and this came with a little bit of smile on my face. You mentioned the big cats, the big cats that are in Belize, like the jaguars and others that are on the mainland. They are also on Ambergris Caye. They tend to be in the northern part of the area around that national park and marine reserve called Bacalar. But there have been reported footprint sightings down in the southern part. To my knowledge, and maybe anybody watching this video can correct me, to my knowledge, I don't think anybody that I have come across, either lives there full time or an expat or a vacation homeowner, has ever come across one of these big cats. They're very, very private and elusive. And certainly, I've never heard of anybody having any issues with them as far as having to defend their property or themselves against some of these beautiful animals. Even on the mainland, where they're more prevalent in the jungles, the jaguars and other big cats they're just so private that very rarely are they even seen, let alone do they give problems for most people. So yeah, that wouldn't be a concern of mine at all. Zero. In fact, we used to own property about 13.5 miles north of San Pedro town. And once in a while, you would have somebody say they saw a tail of a cat, going back into the jungle, but certainly they don't hang around humans. They're very skittish and very reclusive. So no issues there. So one last thing before you go, let me see if I can show you my Google Earth overlay map, if it comes up. There you go. All right, so a couple of things I wanted to show you this map for is because many of you are familiar with the southern part of the island. All right, so Secret Beach, Mahogany Bay, all those kind of neighborhoods, and you kind of just a little bit of a refresher or a crash course on where some of these subdivisions are, especially the ones I just mentioned a lot for 17,000 up north. So starting at the very tip of the island, this is 25 miles long. The entire island is 25 miles long. This is the southern tip. So this is the South Ambergris Key area, the Club Caribbean area. All right, you go up here where my cursor is. This is Mahogany Bay. Right here where my cursor is, this is San Pedro Town. This is the airstrip where everybody comes in and leaves from. Going north about 3.5, 4 miles, you have this stretch of very well-developed beachfront, and then you hit the Secret Beach turnoff road. Secret Beach area, you have such subdivisions as Palmyra Woods, West Key, Grand Belizean Estates, Ambergris Woods, Ambergris Bay, Secret Beach. All of that is in this area here. Going back to the East Coast, going up north, you're going to run into an area called Habaneros. So if you're watching my videos or you've seen any listings in Habaneros, that's right here where my cursor is. Going a little bit further north, you're going to have Punta Azul South, which is right here in the middle of your screen. A little bit further north, Punta Azul North here. And then you have Margaritaville, Tranquility Resort. And then this stretch here is called Robles Point. All right, I just did a video a few days ago on these listings right here, these 4 properties that we just took a listing on. That's Robles Point. Going past Rocky Point, now you get up into the Bacalar area, and you have the Palm Bay Club area right here, which again, that one lot for sale for 17,000, that's right here. And then you hit the canal or the channel that separates Ambergris Key, which is here, from Mexico, which is right here. So this little channel here that sneaks around, that is what separates Mexico from Belize. All right, going back over to the West Coast. Let me just kind of pop this open here, a little bit bigger. All right, West Coast. You have going down Secret Beach area. And then in this area right down here, you have a couple nice beachfront lots. Beachfront lots in this area tend to go for $225 to $275 each, right overlooking Cayo Espanto. All right, guys, thanks a lot for watching. I appreciate it. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, interested in me answering your questions on my YouTube channel in this format, let me know. And thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you soon.